the unprecedented and the purported dismissal of the founding elders of Zimbabwe People First ZimPF by Dr. Joyce Mujuru on the 8th of February 2017, we owe it to our supporters and the nation at large to explain the circumstances surrounding this retrogressive move. The dismissals were precipitated by the insistence by the two founding elders, Messrs. Mutasa and Gumbo, that the interim president should enforce a resolution reached by the steering committee, the highest organ of the party entrusted with the responsibility to lead the party to its first elective convention at one of its previous meetings. The resolution had called for the reassignment of Mr. Tsekamai Mavaire, one of the party founding members of organizing secretary, to allow for unimpeded investigation into allegations of impropriety leveled against him. Instead of abiding by the understanding the three had reached, which was backed by a steering committee's resolution, Dr. Mujuru instead connived with Mavaire and a few of her confidants to dismiss the following elders and the 5 other founding members on various allegations of plotting to topple her. In a similar resolution of the steering committee, a provincial coordinator from Matabeleland South Province, who happened to be here today, was relieved of his responsibility on what seemed to be contrived allegations of impropriety. Without affording him a chance to be heard, the resolution was hastily enforced. Shown above demonstrate the dark side of Dr. Mujuru's character. And the sponsored factions and parallel factors within the party, and at the same time surrounds herself with relatives and the cronies. She appears to emulate the Gushungu cult in ZANU-PF by creating her own Nzou cult in ZimPF. The founding principles of ZimPF anchored upon the acceptance that people come first are routinely violated. Most of our people are kept in the dark about what goes on within the party and are not consulted on major decisions and the policy issues. The hasty and the ill-advised decision to dismiss the founding elders without consulting the people is a case in point. The steering committee members, who include the provincial coordinators, tend to regard their personal views as representative of the people's views without even consulting the people they represent. In her attempt to centralize power, Dr. Mujuru, with the assistance of her loyalists, lied that the purportedly expelled elders had been charged on yet vague allegations and they refused to be tried. In fact, on the day she announced the dismissal of the elders, they were waiting to meet her after she claimed that she was receiving treatment at the trauma center. We were supposed to discuss the challenges facing the party, including the Mugabe issue. There has been a deliberate distortion of the position of elders regarding the coalition of opposition forces. We wanted to unambiguously state our position regarding the question of coalition of all opposition parties. We are for the unity of our people. First, with a regime that knows no bounds in its quest to remain in power forever. We cannot and should not accept the luxury of being divided. However, coalition is a negotiated process which aims to bring parties of different ideological persuasion to work for a common purpose. What form should the opposition coalition take? Should the different parties fuse into one? Should they maintain their separate identities but support one presidential candidate? What is the position regarding the assets owned by the different parties, etc.? These are some of the issues that need to be addressed before a coalition is concretized. We are prepared to walk the distance whose final destination is a united front against ZANU-PF. Dr. Mujuru has always paid lip service to the advisory role of the elders. Around mid-2016, she, together with the provincial coordinators, plotted the downfall of the elders. A resolution to expel the elders was taken at a meeting convened without their knowledge to communicate the decision. However, some members of the National Executive Council objected to the decision and insisted the matter be debated in the presence of the elders. When the issue was subsequently discussed in the presence of the elders, the PCs developed cold feet and they could not repeat their earlier demand. Dr. Mujuru wants the elders removed because they have the courage to speak out whenever she vacillates or opposes a strike. The interim president conducts the affairs of the party like a private business. She goes out on foreign trips without the knowledge of the party members, including the elders and all the levels of her leadership. On return, she does not feel obligated to give a brief on the reasons and outcome of the visit. No one knows the state of the party's finances. Signatories to the party's account were all handpicked by her. One individual who claims to have limitless reserves of money is now taking charge of the party. He has turned his private offices into a corruption center where he bribes senior party officials. He now controls and pays sales, sidelining those entrusted with the responsibility to supervise their personal security. This individual has bribed his way to the top as he has been recently promoted to the National Executive Committee and must surely have a hidden agenda to win Dr. Mugabe's heart if you have money. Needless to say, the of the founding elders is a nullity. Dr. Mujuru announced the dismissal from her residence, which shows she treats the party like a personal project. Besides, the elders still have unfettered access to the ZimPF offices and the assets and are conducting party business as usual. In addition, the expulsion was announced before we could hold our inaugural Congress to elect a substantive leadership as the current one is operating in an acting capacity. The principles and the values of the ZimPF Constitution do not allow the interim executive leadership power to expel the elders, who were left with no choice but to announce that Dr. Mujuru had fired herself by announcing the unconstitutional expulsion of the elders in a vain attempt to create a one center of power. Okay. Meanwhile, the steering committee, together with the founding elders, Mrs. Mutasa and Gumbo, are the leaders of ZimPF. As we strive for unity in our fight against a much-loved ZANU-PF establishment that has brought acute misery to Zimbabwe, we urge Dr. Mujuru to do thorough soul-searching and possibly redress their leadership philosophy and approach so that she can also meaningfully contribute to the opposition's dedicated cause against the sitting regime and for the restoration of Zimbabwe to its former glory. When we took the decision to form ZimPF, we were protesting the trampling of democratic principles and values by the ZANU-PF party, the expulsion of Dr. Mujuru and others, to express themselves against a system that had become corrupt and oppressive to the core. We see the same pattern repeating itself. The heirs, as deputy to President Mugabe, have had their toll on those Mujuru, Chakapaya, Chika, Chokera. As we work to remove the confusion caused by Dr. Mujuru's ill-advised move to expel the founding elders, we urge our members, supporters, and Zimbabweans to remain resolute and optimistic that ZimPF will deliver them from the evil of ZANU-PF's rule. Together with the people of Zimbabwe and other opposition parties, we shall reclaim Zimbabwe of the repressive regime. That is